Hello, this is Wmpyr. I was just watching a video on YouTube where the guy was using a palm stick. Palm stick is a more general term for Kubotan, and it also includes like Yawara stick, Kopo stick, all kinds of different palm sticks. So the guy was using something like that, demonstrating his techniques. And yeah, this is just my 2 cents, okay? I'm not going to tell you which video it was because I'm gonna say some not nice things about it. And I'm not here to put someone down or something like that. I This is for learning purposes, all right, to help you in your martial arts journey. So number one, the first thing that I noticed was, this is just my own opinion, and a lot of people may not agree with me, is I felt like the instructor was extremely arrogant. Now people are like, well, you don't know him. He's super nice. He's willing to teach anybody and this and that. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure he's willing to teach. Just because he wants to teach does not make him humble or a nice person. It doesn't make him not arrogant. In fact, it could totally make the person arrogant, because teaching is a powerful position, and he gets off to that. Is what I got out of the video. Is he's getting off to that power, because when you're teaching, someone has to listen to you. So it's very, very easy to abuse that, and basically you're self-masturbating. I apologize for saying such crude, you know, overly direct and crude things. Yes, I am compensating because this kind of thing isn't talked about in the martial arts world, and it needs to be addressed and talked about. So when the guy is like trying to show you how effortless it is for him, and he can do the technique and it's so easy, look at how badass I could do this, you could have this power too. To me, that kind of display is arrogance, 100%, 100%. And yeah, him willing to teach does not make him humble at all right, at all. And I believe that's why we see these pedophile teachers, not martial arts teachers, but school teachers, um, they're abusing their power. It's that simple. So just because you're a teacher does not make you a humble or good person. I've seen plenty of bad teachers in my day, school or in the gym, dojo. So let let's address this realistically. There's plenty of terrible teachers out there, people that shouldn't be teachers. So that was the first thing that I noticed, was this dude is super arrogant. So right there is like, how much can he really, really polish his technique if he's that arrogant? Um, Number two, the next thing that I noticed was, he's going to demonstrate right for the camera, and right away catches a punch. And I'm like, that is my first rule. One of my big first rules of my self-defense is based off of, because in Filipino martial arts, we do a lot of trapping. And to me, if you don't know what you're doing, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to try to catch a punch. And if you think you're going to catch a punch and go into lock flow and stuff like that, it's just, to me, it's, you haven't done full contact training, so you have no idea what you're talking about. So that was another red flag for me, is catching a punch and going right away into these techniques where they are in a pain compliance hold. So you're catching a punch and going into these grappling techniques, these holds. And this is not like Greco-Roman, any kind of wrestling or that kind of clinch work. No, I'm talking about literally the reason why you're able to do these techniques is the guy freezes for you. He throws the punch and he stops, and now you're free to do whatever you want. So demonstration wise, it's going to be easier to demonstrate that way. Now, to his defense, yes, I'm actually going to defend this person. It sounds like I'm just here to rip him to shreds, but no, I try to be objective. So to his defense, he does say that this is a drill. So he's showing you, so it's not realistic application. He doesn't say that part, but he does say this is a drill. And if someone were to approach him and say, is that the way it's applied in real life? I don't know what he'll say, because I'm not sure that he knows. I'm not sure that he really knows the difference between real life application and demonstration for learning purposes. But like I said, to his credit, he did say this is a drill, meaning, which it should mean that this is not real life application. But then this is my criticism for people who, because there's lots of people who do that. They go, no, this is just a drill, okay? And they act like, well, then that tells me like you're giving the impression like this is just a drill, but I know how to use it in real life, and we're not going to do that right now. But I do know how to do it, and it's like, well, if you're going to go that far, you got to show the real life application. If you know it, you got to show it, right? You can't just go, this is how you practice something, but I'm not going to show you what that something will turn into. That's a bull crap. You got to show it. And does this guy show it? No, of course not. And in my mind, pretty sure he's confused with learning and real life application. It's in his brain. It's all confused. He has no idea what the difference is. I'm pretty sure. Most of these people have it confused. So that was that's another thing that they don't show him. And then I think someone off the camera, I'm pretty sure this is what happened. Off the camera, the person said, "Does this really work?" And he said, "Yeah, it works." So that's another red flag to me about, yes, it works, no, it doesn't work. That way of thinking, and to show a demonstration and to go, yeah, that works. I don't know that. I don't know that it works. You might know if it works or doesn't work, but what you're showing me right here is not real life application. So you're not showing me that it works. I don't care how much your student is screaming in pain, or how much they look helpless. You're able to make them render and look helpless, right? Because of because they're compliant and you're going really hard on them, or you're acting like you're not using any effort whatsoever, because it's putting on a show, really, is what it is. And you're going, oh, look, no effort right here, and the student's screaming in pain. I hate that. I think it's super disrespectful to the student. I've been there. I've been the uke, the person who has to receive that. In my martial arts journey, of course, if you've been in martial arts long enough, and if you've done certain martial arts, especially the traditional martial arts, you have to be the instructor's, demonstration doll. and as that's happening, the instructor's trying to look good, so they're making you scream and applying it really hard, even though you're not resisting at all. That does not tell me that it works, because it's not real life, So once again, no matter how realistic it looks, or how much the student looks helpless or they're in pain, none of that tells me that it works. None of it, and it doesn't. It doesn't, because that's a completely different thing. Okay, they're making it look like it works, and that's where you cannot fall into that trap. Okay, and that's where some people are crazy, but to their credit, they're the ones that go, well, can you do it to me? I'm going to throw you a real punch. Like, I'm going to try to take your head off. And can you do that to me? And most instructors would probably say no, because that's a lawsuit, and it's just all kinds of wrong. But the way to do it the way to properly tackle that, because that is a valid question, but that's not the good solution. So the proper way to do it, in my opinion, is to break it up into bits and pieces logically to show how you could end up there, you know, and how from there you could apply it. Like, for example, if you catch a punch and then go into one of these pain compliance technique, then it's no way. I mean, like I said to you guys earlier, that to me is a red flag. It shows that the instructor doesn't know how to use this in real life, has probably never used it in real life, you know. But if the instructor shows it off of a clinch that you see in boxing, that you see in wrestling, you see in MMA, you see in judo, you see in just about every grappling art that exists on the planet Earth, okay, even on the Egyptian, vases, ancient vases and stuff, it's drawn on there, okay, then that is a much, much more, I'm not going to say, oh, it works. No, because, but because anything can work, anything can fail, and plus you still haven't shown me, but you're doing it from a much more realistic position. So just doing it off of the clinch rather than catching a punch, that already to me is that's a good sign right there. I will be much, much more likely to go, oh, okay, this guy might know what he's talking about, But if he does it off of a punch, unless this guy's incredibly fast, and then that's what you're teaching your students, is you need to have incredible speed. that to me is not a good style, not a good art. Yeah, for this to work, you got to be amazingly fast. You have to be like 2 to 3 times faster than your opponent to do this. Then that's not a good technique. Okay, sure. If I was 2 to 3 times faster or more powerful, or my reflexes were better, yeah, I could do a lot of things. So there's nothing impressive about that. Show me the opposite. Show me a move where you could be sick, you could be injured, and you could still pull this move off. Probably, you have a high chance of pulling it off. That is the move I'm interested in. So, yeah, it's just, so at this point I got disgusted and I turned it off, and I had to talk to you guys about this. So, yeah, I don't want to make such a negative video, but these are things to avoid, ladies and gentlemen. These are things you got to watch out for. An arrogant instructor, okay, and then someone that uses demonstration as proof that it works. And the idea of whether it works or doesn't work is already messed up. Okay, like I said, I don't go with that. Here, real quick in closing. A lot of people think in terms of technique. So if A and B, person A, individual A is going to battle individual B, and let's say they're all about equal, okay, about the same age, about the same size, same weight, same experience, same amount of determination, all that kind of stuff, roughly equal, okay? One person has technique, the other doesn't. What does that mean? When they fight, it's going to be a brawl, and when they're brawling, person A who has technique, let's say it's a front kick, they're going to use the front kick on top of the brawling. Person B is just going to brawl. Person A will brawl too, but they also have that front kick that may or may not change the game. So it could give them an advantage. Okay, so that's technique. All right. Now you might go, that's easy to understand for a lot of people. So they go, okay, yeah, technique makes a difference. All right, I can see that. So I'm gonna get more technique, right? And then that's where Bruce Lee made that famous quote, basically talking about quantity versus quality. It's not the amount of techniques it's how well you can do the technique. That is much, much more important. So he said, I fear the man who does one kick 1,000 times rather than, a man who has 1,000 different types of kicks, right? So he said something like that. So, Yeah, quantity versus quality. Okay. The next level is technical. Technical is different than someone who has technique. What's the difference? Being technical is someone that, okay, why am I using a front kick? And they're thinking like they have their own logic, whatever it may be. They're like, okay, I throw a front kick and then I land. I'm landing still square. So because I'm square, I could do my next attack. Maybe it's a double leg takedown. So they do the front kick and they land perfectly in position to do a double leg takedown. It changes to the next technique. So maybe that's why they like the front kick. There's a logic there. That's being technical. It's like, why don't you do a roundhouse kick or side kick? Well, that I turn my body, and then when I land, I am not ready for a double leg takedown. So I have to readjust. I'm losing time. So that's why I like the front kick better. I'm not saying that's me, but maybe someone has that way of thinking. And that way of thinking is logic. It doesn't make it correct. It's just logic. Logic is not fact. That's where a lot of people in the martial arts get this wrong. Okay, logic is it's just logical thinking. It's thinking that makes sense to that person. All right, and maybe to a lot of people, hopefully, but that doesn't make it right. It's not about right or wrong. Right or wrong is more abstract. It's black and white. Whereas this can fail. That's just the reality. So it's just logic, right? And then you battling someone, you're testing your logic against their logic, and you're going up against each other. And who knows? Their logic might be more thorough. They might have a better logic, or maybe it's some other factor. But what you got to understand is being technical is that where you start going, why am I doing it this way? Why do I turn my wrist at this point? Why do I shift my weight this way? Why is it 60%, 40% weight distribution? Why? And you start answering those questions, and then you try to make those things, the answers, those logical answers, you try to make it become a factor in combat. Because, you go, well, I might get taken to the ground, so I'm going to learn grappling. But let's say you have a strong KO punch and every fight you've been in, you knocked out the guy. Then grappling was not needed. That logic was completely useless. Okay, I'm not saying that he was wrong to prepare for the worst and do grappling. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm saying that it wasn't a factor in those fights. So maybe he had worked on a different thing, it would have been better. Or maybe it was just a matter of time before he did encounter someone that was going to take him to the ground, and then he would have been prepared for that. So, you just never know, but I'm just saying, in combat, you want your logic to make a difference. You want it to make a difference as much as possible. So, starting with your stance, with what you're wearing, with the location you chose, all of those things, you want it to give you an advantage. You want those factors to help you out. So anyway, that's being technical. Okay, so that's a step above just having technique. Step above being technical is, I've been telling you guys, that's a system. A system is when you put those logics together in a method for a purpose, where it all comes together for one big purpose. Not a small purpose like this will help, like I said with the front kick, this will help me go into the double leg takedown. No, I'm talking about a bigger purpose, much bigger purpose, like being able to neutralize the opponent and run away. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about, So to make that happen, you can have a whole system, or you look at someone like Bill Superfoot Wallace. The way that he fights, he's made it into a system. So from his stance, why does he stand that way? Because it helps him blend his attacks together. Why do you want to blend your attacks? It makes it harder for the opponent to read. And it's a complete system, includes defense too. So he could easily get out and run away, cover up, and all that. So that's all mixed in together in one cohesive, uh, you know, one cohesive way of thinking. So it's a bunch of logics put together into one system. You know, where it becomes, once you have a system, it becomes like a flow chart, like a computer program, where you're going to go, okay, they do this, so I'm going to be going this direction, and it goes A, B, C, D, you know, or that's not happening, then I will go over here to where it's 2.0, and then there's a B, C, D, you know, it branches off like that. That is a system. So anyway, just wanted to point this out to you guys. That's, to me, is what you want to look for. That's what you should be developing. So start with technique and then go into, so number one is I have technique, or I have techniques. Number two is I am technical. Okay. And then number three is I have developed a system. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.